Hey guys, welcome back to my channel today. Today we are doing something special. Hunting season is upon us, so it means we've got to get ready. In a previous video you saw me put out our deer feeder, our deer blind, deer trail cameras, which we got a lot of pictures on that so far, just mostly does and fawns right now. I think there's been one buck come through, but he didn't have any antlers, so it's probably a little yearling buck, button buck as they call it. But what this means today is we are going to be practicing with our archery equipment. Liam has never killed a deer yet. He just turned 11 this year, be 12 next year. And he finally is going to start shooting a real person's bow. What I mean by real person, I mean, he's gonna start shooting a bow strong enough to kill a deer. So right now, I have two bows right now. First off is my compound bow. This is my pride and joy. This is a Mathews V3X. I bought this thing last year, retail price, just for the bow, about, I think it was $1,500. And that was just the bare bow. But smart enough, a couple years before that, I had bought this great QVC rest. It is a drop away rest. And then I have a single pin bow sight by CBE. These things run anywhere from, I think the rest was about 150 bucks, and the CBE rest was, or the sight was, I think about another $100. Very much worth it. Now you can, usually whenever you go to Walmart or if you buy a bow from a bow shop or something like that, ready to hunt packages. Now mine was, like I said, just a bare bow, so I had to add all this stuff on there. So that's what made it about $1,500. The bow itself, I think, just bare bow was about $1,200, and about another $300 for that. Plus the case, arrows, which I do have a couple different arrows. These are Gold Tip 340 Hunters. I don't think they do make these still, but I think they have a different variant now. It's a 340 grain arrow. Awesome. Setting them up with field tips today. Do have some preloaded broadheads, but I'm really hoping to get a deer with this bow this year. I took a shot at one last year, and just as the arrow was coming in, it heard a noise and it turned and glanced off its shoulder. I know, still hunter error in my point. So, but
it's still
happens.
hard on you.
It was hard on me just to see that arrow glance off its shoulder and the deer just walk away like nothing happened. So that is what I am shooting this year. Another bow we have that my fiance had bought me a while back, and she's been using, and what we're going to set Liam up with this year, because we can't get him a good enough compound bow yet. He's going to be shooting the crossbow. This is a Wicked Ridge crossbow. It's got the ACU AccuDraw on it, which draws it back for you, just a little crank on it. It's got a little ACOG sight made by 10 Point. Now, if you guys don't know, Wicked Ridge is a company that makes bows. They're a little bit cheaper, and they are owned by 10 Point. Now, I'm sure you've seen 10 Point before. They are the more expensive, just like Mathews. Mathews is like one of the top. You've got Mathews and Hoyt, PSC, Fredbear, but Mathews and Hoyt are like your top tier. Well, Mathews also owns Mission Archery, and they make bows that are almost like it, not the same quality, but they are above quality, above your production bows, which production bows are bows that they make cheaper and send out to like Bass Pro, Walmart, stuff like that. They have the Fredbear name or Mission on them, and it'll say Mission by Mathews, but they are usually cheaper made. They don't usually last as long as your what they call flagship bows. These are flagship bows, are the ones that come from Mathews, Hoyt, Fredbear, stuff like that. The ones that you'll buy specifically at a bow shop with just bare bow, no sight, no rest, or anything like that on it, and they're usually a little bit higher. Like I said, the bow that I bought this here was brand new, like $1,200. It was like $1199.99, and then I had to add other things to it. So now crossbows, 99% of them come with a scope already on it, and they say they're pre-sighted to 20 yards. We didn't, but great rule of thumb, don't always believe that, because yeah, they may be preset at the factory to 20 yards, but when they get shipped, the scope could get jostled and they could get thrown off anytime. So you always want to make sure that they're on. And it's always great to go back out there and make sure that you're shooting straight and everything before you try to take it out and kill a deer. Now, this Wicked Ridge, I think retailed for about $5.99. But she got it for me for an anniversary present. So they are a little bit higher end. 10 point though for like this same kind of bow. I don't know what theirs is called. I can't remember what this one's called. I cannot remember. I can't remember what it's called. The Wicked Ridge something. It's like a Wicked Ridge 305 something or 3 something. But like I said, they usually like 10 points, the cheapest one you're going to find, and that is the lowest end one, maybe without a scope, for $800-900. So I mean, you can pick crossbows up pretty cheap. You can go to Walmart or Dunham's or Bass Pro or anything and buy a good crossbow that will kill deer, and it will last for as long as you take care of it. Probably for right around $150 to $250, and they are not horrible. The first crossbow that I bought was a honestly cannot remember the brand name. It just escaped my mind, but it was we bought it at Dunham Sports, and it was like on sale for $279.99, and it killed a deer. It was a good one. She had bought a Barnett 350 or 385, sorry, Barnett 385, and it was on sale for like $229 at Academy, and it worked great. Now, the only thing about it is after you shoot them for so long, you need to make sure that you keep the bowstring wax on the strings. You need to make sure your cams are doing good and everything on these. So yeah, I mean, they're great bows. They don't cost a whole heck of a lot. Now, you can buy cheaper bows than the compound. Now, it's just that when I bought my bow, the way I looked at it is I am going to buy this bow for $1,500, and I may never buy another compound bow again. I mean, they come out with parts, and that's the great thing about Mathews and Hoyt. You buy a flagship bow like this, and whenever they bring out new stuff, it's usually interchangeable. Like the parts and stuff, the cams and everything are usually pretty interchangeable with the new and older bows. So they still have these cams. I mean, there was a guy that I remember, I was talking to my bow shop guy, and he told me that a guy came in and he had a Mathews he bought it in like 1978, something like that. So I mean, it was 30 plus years old, and they had finally, like last year, just discontinued all the parts for that bow. So I mean, 30 or so years later, they were still making parts for that bow, or parts that were comparable to that bow. And so he had to break down and get it. But the funny thing about it is, an awesome thing about Mathews and Hoyt, sometimes they try to send it in to get serviced by Hoyt because they couldn't do it it was a Mathews, sorry. They tried to send it to Mathews to get serviced, and Mathews said, well, we don't have any parts for this bow anymore. So they contacted the guy, and they were just thrilled that this guy had a Mathews bow, a single Mathews bow, for like 30 plus years. And they sent him a brand new Mathews bow. And I think it was the V3, because there was the V3 and the V3X. The V3X is a little bit longer, a little bit heavier. So, I mean, they sent him a new bow just for being a loyal Mathews customer. So, well, we're going to get set up, guys, and we'll get up back when we're shooting some targets, okay? Got the Wicked Ridge set up, got it loaded, ready to go. It's going to take our first shot. We're set the target out about 20 yards down there, and I'm going to take first shot, and then I'm going to see and make sure that it is still on, see if I have to tweak it anything, and then we'll see if we can get Liam to shoot it. All right, here we go, guys.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that was a little high. Let's go look.
Let's go see, guys.
I mean, it felt good. It looked good.
Looks like a clear shot.
Yeah, almost. I mean, I jerked the trigger a little bit. Yeah. It was a little high, but we're at the right distance. I forgot. That's the funny thing, guys. I forgot my my rangefinder, so I kind of guesstimated on 20 yards, but that seems about perfect. I was aiming about right here whenever I pulled the trigger.
So just put it back a little bit.
So, but yeah, it was just a little high. I mean, of course, you want to hit right here, but I mean, that's still, in that area, that would still probably be a kill shot. So
we just gotta move it back a tad bit.
No, it's still good. It's good.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, it is still good, and that's going to stop the arrow. So let's go back and we will get set up. How to load this thing is really easy, guys. This is the crossbow. So in order to do it, you know, it has this nifty little self-cocking mechanism, the AccuDraw. So it sits back here in this housing here. You just stretch it out over here, hook it onto your string under here, right? Then you take the handy dandy cocking device, and when this is flipped down, it means it's free flowing. But if you flip it up, it's locked. So what you want to do is you want to make sure it's locked. Now you can crank it back whenever it's like that, but it'd be a lot harder if you accidentally let go of this handle. It's going to hit your hands pretty good. So when you have it locked in, you just sit there and you crank it back until it goes all the way back into the catch. And when it comes all the way back into the catch, automatically puts the bow on safe. All crossbows are that way. When it comes into the catch like that, good. So it'll hold it. You kind of flip that switch down to release the tension and let that come through. Take out your thing here, reach over, grab the mechanism, come back across, and it goes right back in that little catch. Then all you do, white feather down into the rail, slide it all the way back. Now it will not come off safe. Here's your safety switch. It won't come off safe. Okay, it will. Sorry. Most of them have a mechanism where it will not allow it to come off safe until an arrow comes back here and does that. So when you come back here, you know, you can put it off safe and it's on fire mode. Keep it on safe until you're ready to fire. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Rule of thumb, treat every weapon, especially any gun, like it's loaded, even if you know it's not. Treat every weapon that way.
It's like a pet.
Yeah.
You gotta take care of it.
I mean, yeah, you gotta take care of it, but you always treat every weapon as if it is loaded, even if you think it's not. Because whenever you get careless like that, that's when people get hurt. So that's how you load this thing. Very easy. Bows are really easy. You put it in the catch, yada yada. So, but we're gonna get Liam set up here and let him take a couple shots to see if he can get it on target. Hopefully he can, because if he can, he's gonna take him a deer down this. Just remember, you want to make sure that you're squeezing that trigger. It's on safe. You got it on target.
Yeah.
Set the safety off.
Where?
It's on the right hand side above your hand.
I can't.
Yep, right up there.
Right here?
Right up there, yeah. Flip that switch forward. Okay, then squeeze the trigger. Good job. Yeah, that wasn't a bad shot, man. I mean, it is a little low, but I said, you know, it's a little bit low, just outside. But the thing about it is, you're new to this, one. But two, the good thing about it is like this whole area here is probably about, diameter all the way across is probably about 2 inches, you know, 2-3 inches, 2.5 inches maybe wide. So I mean, that area and that whole area right in there, hitting a deer in that area is probably going to hit a vital shot. So even that would have been a little bit low like it is right now. Good still shot for a double lung on the bottom, maybe even the heart. Because usually whenever they set the targets up, that's like a double lung shot. So a little bit lower, that could be the heart, that could be the liver, still could be a dead deer. All right, I'm getting set up to shoot my bow. Liam's just shot the crossbow 2-3 times. First time ever shooting a crossbow, he did pretty dang good. 2 kill shots, almost dead center, 20 yards, dead deer. So we know he's good, crossbow's good. The one thing you always want to make sure of, you know, when your bow, you come out and you practice as much as you can. Sorry for the cicadas in the back, or locusts as we like to call them here in Oklahoma. It is late summer, so they're out and about. But he did really good with the crossbow. The one thing you always want to make sure, it's just like shooting a gun. Like whenever you go to squeeze the trigger, you want to squeeze it, you don't want to pull it, that way you don't jerk anything. All right, got my bow set up. I am shooting the gold tips first. They're a little bit heavier. These are 340 grain, so they fly. To me, I think a little bit heavier helps my bow. My bow is shooting 75 pounds, and I have a 30-inch draw length. The funny thing about the Mathews bows is actually at your full draw length, let's say it's set on 29, right? Actually, you're drawing 29 and a half. That's the funny thing, is there's like a little extra draw to this thing. This was explained to me at the bow shop. So whenever we do this, like I had mine set to, I have a 30-inch draw length. So they set it to 29 and a half. That way when I fully draw, then it is actually 30 inches instead of just 29 and a half. Because it goes all the way down, I think, to like 25-inch draw length and all the way up to 30 and a half. So when they do that, they set it on here for 29 and a half. So when I fully draw out, I'm at 30. So when you draw your bow back, you want to find a good anchor point. I like to have my anchor point back here, like my hand open, and it draws back to like where my corner of my mouth is. Always make sure you have the same anchor point whenever you go to shoot. That is so important, because if you don't have a good anchor point, your shots can be all over the place. You want to draw, and that way it becomes muscle memory. Whenever you go to draw, when you draw back, it automatically comes back to that one area. I kind of keep my hand up high. I draw with my hand open, rather than, I've seen some people grab like they're released like this, or they'll draw. I like to draw using my wrist and my arm, and as well as pushing out with this arm. It's a whole upper body thing. You don't just pull with your one arm, otherwise you can really hurt your back and hurt your arms. So whenever I go to pull back, I may start high. Now it's a little bit different. Whenever I'm target shooting, I kind of go high and then settle over the target. So I come up a little high, draw back, see how I did. Put my hand up here, and I settle in. And then whenever I shoot, it's just like shooting a gun, just like shooting a crossbow. You don't want to pull this, because whenever you pull, that means it could pull your shot off. What you're wanting to do is just kind of wrap that finger over, whichever finger it is, and there's a couple different ways to do it. You can, if you get really good to where you can wrap that finger over and just slowly decrease to where it shoots. Or there's some people that do that where they pull it and they will wrap that finger over. And I've seen some people where they just pull back ever so slightly. Well, they use, it's kind of like a tension pull. Like they just wrap that finger and the finger never moves. They pull back with their arm, keeping it straight and everything, and then that tension finally releases that arrow. But you always want to make sure that you're on target. You always want to make sure that you're not like snapping that pull string. I understand when you're out there, it's hard to remain calm when you got a big buck or a big doe or any deer in your crosshairs and you're ready to shoot. It is really hard to not just pull that dang trigger and shoot at that deer, but you got to stay calm. It always helps me if I'm pulled on a deer just to really relax, take your time. The let off on this bow is like 75-85%. So I mean, I'm pulling back 75 pounds, but once I finally break over, 85% of that is being held by these cams, and I'm only holding back by like 15 pounds. So I can hold this bow back for a good little amount before I actually have to let off. So that really helps out with the let off. A lot of these bows, I think the smallest I've seen is about 70% let off. They've gotten to the point, even the cheap bows are like 70-80% let off, just for that very reason. So that's one thing you always want to, rule of thumb, you always want to make sure that you don't just pull that and shoot real quick. You want to make sure you squeeze that trigger, because you want those arrows to go in the right direction, into the right spot every time. All right, guys. Well, my grouping's off just a little bit. It's not too bad. This was my second shot, third shot, first shot. Maybe a little bit off. You want the groupings almost within a dime. And usually I do pretty good, but this is the first time that I'm shooting this year. So just got to get used to it. All right, guys, that's all we got. We got the bows packed back up in our cases. All the time we got, we're losing light, and plus we're getting eaten up by mosquitoes today. So, I mean, we did pretty good today. For our first, the groupings weren't too bad. I can show you here on the target. I know I hit here, Liam hit here a couple times. Just got to get him up a little bit. Not too bad today, though. The groupings need to be a little bit better, but I have to say probably the mosquitoes are really affecting us a lot today right now. So we're going to head back to the house. Yeah,
because we would still be here. The mosquitoes were here.
Yeah, if it was a little bit cooler and the mosquitoes weren't out, or if we'd remembered the bug spray, we'd probably still be shooting a little bit more, but we're getting ate up. So
yeah,
for
and
the
we
first
don't want to
session,
be, bloodless.
right? I mean, for the first session of the year, it wasn't too bad. Like I said, we're going to be shooting a lot more here lately. Getting ready for about another month or so. We're going to start going out. I got my new cameras. As pictures come in, hopefully we'll start getting some bucks. Not really looking for a buck, probably up until it gets closer to black powder or gun season. That's when they're going to be real big and stuff like that. Right now they're kind of bulking up, so not too worried about that. But if you guys like this content, you want to see more videos like this, hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know down in the comment section if you guys want to know anything or want any kind of specific videos you want to see. And we'll come at you next time.